guilty of crime.
Hello, everybody. What's up? I am Jay with Guilty of Crime, and how's everybody doing today? What's going on? Happy Tuesday to everybody. Shout out to all my peeps waiting in chat. I love you guys. Hit the like button on your way in. We've got 69 people in here. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. I know 69 is a funny number, but laugh if you want. But 69 people here, and I hope, we just got 86. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and shout out to the new members, Rosie Romero. Shout out to you, girlfriend, and Monica Martinez, new member. Love the little kitty ears in your pic. Good to see you guys here, and thank you guys so much. There's my girl Sharon. What's up? Big kisses and hugs to you. Mwah, Sharon. Thank you for all you do, Sharon Belko. I appreciate you. You help me out all the time. I love talking to you. Thank you. Yes, I got you guys to laugh. Ha ha ha. 69 is a funny number, isn't it? I knew it. Every time I say that number, people think it's so funny. When I'm playing bingo and someone says B69, everyone's like, ooh. Yeah, it's so funny. What's up? How you doing, Criddles? Good to see everybody. I hope I got a smile on your face at the start of the show. What's up? I know yesterday we had a few laughs. Serious topic, but definitely a few laughs going in there. You know, you guys love the stories. So what's up? Anna Orlando, hit the like button. Stephanie, blah diddy blah. Sassy Cassie, and I love you. Bogart. I'm glad you guys are laughing. Leanne and Foxy Amazon. What's up? Leanne, check your email. You're a day ahead of me. So today is the 17th. You're the 18th, Leanne. You are in fact streaming on the 20th, my time on Friday. So you guys, we have a big week, and I have a lot of things rolling in my head for the Jennifer Soto. Why the heck does she act the way she does? And we're going to react to Beth Meeks because there's things that she said because she doesn't know the case that it bothers me if I don't correct them. Plus, I want to get her on my show or somebody like her. All right. So you guys, welcome. I knew I'd get you guys a laugh. 69 people. Now there's 115 people in chat. Hit the like button. Yes, leave your DNA. All that. We're coming up with the new icon soon. And there's going to be a lot of good ones in there. Things that are going to make you laugh. And then some serious things for all the serious true crime that we do around here. I also want to say thank you guys for the shop vac. I was just using the shop vac right before I got on here. So you know Reese's room is trashed. And I had to pull out the shop vac. But thank you guys. I got a kick-ass shop vac from the Guilty of Crime crew. You guys, it's awesome. Awesome. Picked up everything. I could do my chores before I started this live. So thank you. Welcome. Trigger warning, potato. And we got this little guy here, the little happy avocado. If you donate, you get the happy avocado. If it's a trigger warning, you get this ugly potato. And a shout out from me, Jay, Guilty of Crime. All right. Yeah, don't be janky. Meander over and shamble over to the like button and smash it. I got a lot of things going through my head today about the Madeline Soto case. I have some audio that you guys have never heard before of the neighbor And why didn't I play that before? I don't know. I missed it. I also have a witness when Stephan Sterns was meandering around all over the place the day that he took Maddie's life, or the day after he meandered all over and the gas station attendant. I want to play that one, and I want to play the neighbor. So we're going to do a Christmas special. It's actually a Christmas Eve special. Madeline Soto, and I'm going to fill in some blanks. We're going to talk about the trial. We're going to talk about the goal to get me over to Florida for the trial when it actually does happen. Okay, so big rest of this week. Next week, I want to do the shout out to Madeline Soto on Christmas Eve and be there and spend some time with you all. Y'all should contact Jennifer, ask her to do a live interview. Yeah, right. Her and her family do not like us. All right. They do not like the crime crew. You guys, don't forget, Rosie and Monica got themselves memberships. Get a membership, super chat, super sticker, all that. Yeah, Wes is yelling at me. I know. I got to get him, but I don't want to leave you guys with a blank screen. So let me pull this up real quick so you can see what the heck I'm talking about. And then I'll get him. I just fed him. What's up, MM Clark? Good to see you. And Leanne says, how do I renew my membership? Girl, go into your email where you signed up and hit renew that membership. If not, go back to the Guilty of Crime page and hit join. All right. Love you. Minnesota girl, thank you so much. You're starting the new trade. Choo choo. Hit the like button if you can. Match Minnesota girl or anything. Like I said, 99-cent super stickers make me just as happy. So thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, Wes isn't that happy. I fed him and he's still crying about it. But it wasn't a chocolate milk mess this time. It was just regular chunky milk. And when I say chunky milk, you know what that means, right? When I say chunky milk, that means that the milk got left over and nasty and it's all chunky. So I got to clean up chunky milk with a shop vac and a bunch of other stuff that Reese meandered all over and just left her stuff. What's up, Flossie? I love your little picture there. Hey, Jay and everyone. How you guys doing? I'm glad you guys finally figured out what to do. Hello, everybody. Yeah, sour spoiled milk. That's how it goes around here. That's why I have a shop vac from the Guilty of Crime crew. What's up, Sweet and Salty, a.k.a. Rachel? How you doing? All right, let's get into this. So today we're talking about why the heck does Jennifer act the way she does? And we also really want to correct these things that Beth Meeks didn't know about the case. And I hope she learns about it because it's real important when you're an expert and you're trying to give a proper opinion for you to know exactly what's happening. So Diana L, thank you so much for the super sticker, $4.99. And I'm going to say it. Choo choo. Thank you. Start that train, get a membership, whatever. It's all good. Help assist out. What's up, Frank Shaw? How you doing? And Wolfpack and Sweetie and Debbie, all of you. Thank you for being here. All right, let's get into this. Chat is meandering tonight. It's not meandering tonight. It's on fire. So let's listen up. He's going to introduce her. If Wes yells again, I'll go get him. But she's an expert in gender-based violence, you guys. So what does that mean? And how do we fill in the blanks for her?
So we're just going to, hopefully it'll just feel like a conversation, Beth. And then along the way, as questions come in, guys, you guys know the rule. If you put GF in your
all right, and we don't need that rule. You guys are talking to me. Beth Meeks knows predatory behavior, but in this episode, I feel like because it's a gender-based violence, and maybe it's just me. You guys can tell me at the end of it, no shade towards Beth, but I feel like because Jen Soto's a woman and Stephan's a man predator, that we're overlooking some things that I think Jen had to do with, and not because, but she's just some victim woman. So let me hit play and I'll go grab Wes. He's already yelling at me. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't. Let's get into it.
That will help me see it. But as we go along, there might be some questions that we bring up. The other thing, I should have told you this before we went on, Beth. I will sometimes interrupt you. It might drive you crazy. It does drive some people crazy. But I just can't help myself sometimes. If you say something, I go, ooh. So I just apologize in advance for that.
I appreciate it because I do government where basically I was a troubleshooter for all 56 states and territories on everything domestic violence. And in my free time, I work as a consultant, as a trial consultant and expert witness. And
so Beth knows her stuff, but when you listen to this, you're going to see what I'm talking about. And I'm going to tell you, more and more women are in deep into predatory behavior, you guys. Just because it's a woman nowadays, it doesn't even matter. I have this episode that I want to share with you guys. This woman sold her children for $200 for sex, and I feel like Jennifer Soto is also a part of that predatory group, and she should not be excluded because she's a woman and because she acts dumb. All right. So I've seen this before. Jennifer's one of the pedo, but not the aggressor. She's the aggressor side. Agreed, Dawn. Agreed. I want you guys to set all things aside that you've ever known about domestic violence and women and true crime and start over. Let's start over today with setting the baseline for any man, any woman, any gender can be a predator. And it doesn't even matter if you're a mama bear like us. If you're a mom, and you wouldn't be a mama bear if you did what Jen did, but they seem to get away from things because they're women and they hide behind, oh, woe is me. He was grooming me. He's a predator. I just didn't know. I should have known. Oh my God. We're going to set that all aside because that's not what happened here, in my opinion. Carol, aka Bean, thank you for gifting that membership. I appreciate you. I want to have an episode that says Jen sold Maddie for pills, but I need to find that. I need to find that information. I need to get some kind of documentation because I do have an episode that talks about a whole episode about a mother selling her children for $200 for sex. And I'm telling you, I've seen it more and more. And I truly believe that Jen Soto is also in that group. So like I said, forget everything that you know about your mothering skills and about women in the past. And woe is me. That is not Jen Soto. All right. That is not her. What's up, Michelle? Lock up Jen Soto now. Absolutely. And thank you guys for gifting memberships. Again, super stickers, super chats, all that stuff. Shout out to you guys, holiday season. And I know it's tight, so I appreciate you. All right, let's go. Forget about all that. Let's listen.
Usually in domestic violence cases of some sort, often in homicide cases. I've testified in another number of homicide cases and worked with a number of lawyers who were actually defending people who had killed in self-defense.
Tell us the difference between a regular witness in a trial and an expert witness.
Well, an expert witness has to get on the stand and undergo this battery of intense questioning to be qualified as an expert. The judge makes a ruling to decide if you're qualified as an expert.
Right.
If you're qualified as an expert.
Okay, and this is why I wanted to do this. Read that comment right below me. I saw this interview and I said, man, so many people are mad at her. And I don't think Beth meant to do that. But Carolina Hurtado says, I remember this interview. This doctor came up with every single excuse and the kitchen sink. I was so upset. So we're going to correct those wrongs today and interject with what we know about Jen Soto and this case. And we're going to throw everything else out because I did see a lot of people getting upset at this interview. Gavin was probably being really nice and didn't want to correct her because she was a guest. And you know me, I'm nice and sweet, but I'm also tough and I'll say whatever. And I would say, Beth, you're great and we love you, but let me just tell you how this case is. And so let's not be too mad at Beth. I think she's just going on what she knows and what she's trying to do. But we know Jen Soto much better. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being understanding, agreeing to disagree, and watching the interview. Yeah, Lucky said I saw it too, and this was frustrating. And now you see, Lucky, and all of you people here, why I have to do reaction videos. Not only that, I don't have Beth on my channel yet, but I have to do a reaction video. All right, what's up, Leanne Wilson? Please check your email. I corrected whatever it is that you think I got wrong. Love you, girl.
There are a couple of different rules for an expert. So for instance, other witnesses have to sit outside of the room and can only come into the courtroom when they're testifying. The expert can sit through all of the testimony. The expert can also refer to other people's testimony, interviews they've done. So It's sort of a
Good
hearsay
night.
exception, right? They can talk about.
Wait, good night, Era, Leo. Good night. What? We just got this party started. Don't forget to hit the like button if you're going to leave already. And I agree. I wouldn't do an interview if I didn't know the case, but that's just me because I'm this weird, insane, overbearing, crazy Leo that has to know everything that I'm talking about so that I don't have to have a script. Because when I get on, it's go time. You press that go button and it's over. Jay from Guilty of Crime can talk for 2 hours about any topic that I know about. I don't need a script, but some people need to know. So yeah, I agree, but let's right those wrongs. As you can tell today, I have that American flag. I'm doing my civil duty today by correcting this. Okay, Aaron, not leaving. Good. I got a little bit worried that you were taking off. All right. Yeah, Gavin definitely bit his tongue and he's a gentleman. And I'm very understanding. I'm an empath, but I gotta say what I gotta say when I gotta say it. So let's say it right now. And don't be too upset, guys. We're gonna correct these things.
Things they've learned from other places.
Yeah. So you're able to, based on your expertise, specifically render opinions, give basically not diagnoses, but you're able to give expert opinions outside of the other witnesses that will just say, I saw this happen. And that's all they can really testify to, right?
Yes, they fact witnesses. Yeah, we'll usually have a series of questions just about things they've seen or done or heard directly. Yeah, I'm not a clinician, so I don't see people for counseling, prescribe meds and that sort of stuff. I'm more like a behaviorist. And when I qualify, I'm very often qualified as an expert in victim and offender behavior.
Okay. So I'm just going to pull up the website here real quick. So Beth has her bachelor's degree from the University of Findlay in social work. She has a Master of Science in Criminal Justice, Forensic Psychology from Tiffin University. She has all sorts of awesome awards and everything. And then the professional background is even on your website. And I know that this is, let's see, there was a seat. No, it was on the.
All right, now you guys are seeing all this. Some of you guys didn't see this yet, so that's why I want to show this, what her profession is, and so you guys know what's going on. But what I gotta say is we're gonna correct these things, and I want you to know that I really need to make sure this case is straight, so someone doesn't come on here and say, "Wow, oh, and they think that about Jen," because everyone doesn't know all the stuff that we do. I love everyone here involved, amazing creator and fantastic chat. Thank you, Hurricane Holly. I appreciate you. So yeah, let's see what she has to say, and then we'll bite our tongues for a bit. And if you have something to correct, throw it down there in chat so I can try to read it and we can get through this. But I want you to know nowadays, you're right, mothers everywhere, and Florida is a huge place that these crimes are happening. Mothers are selling their children for a dime bag, you guys. So $200 is actually a lot. All right. So just remember that. What's up, Artemis Prime? Good to see you. You say guilty. And yes, let's discuss things. Someone said we are like a book club. It's like we read a book and then we're a book club and we discuss it. That's how we want to do it. Nice and calm and chill.
Accomplishments, right? So anyway, this is a short version of your CV. You've actually got a very, very long curriculum vitae. So why don't we go to, let's bring Maddie up. I like to have our victims' pictures up. What was, when you reached out to me, tell everybody basically the thesis that you were working on that you explained to me.
She reached out to him?
Yeah, so I think it kind of boils down to, I'll say two main things. The first is, I know that there's a lot of anger with Jen Soto.
Mm-hmm.
That is the case in these sort of situations, and it is warranted. She's not.
It's warranted. What she says is she didn't have anger, in my opinion. Let me say that. And number two, she's going to be a witness, you guys. I'm going to tell you right now, Jen Soto is top of the witness list. I don't know if she's going to get charged. If she gets charged, then she's going to come out in her jail scrubs and she's going to go and she's going to be a witness for the state. I already know because the way they're treating her with those kid gloves and the list that we've seen, she's on there, you guys. So that's the kind of witness she's going to be, is what Beth is talking about. So let's say nothing ever happens and she doesn't get arrested, you guys, for fraud or the GoFundMe stuff or the PPP or anything. And she's a Casey Anthony. All right. Yeah. Anger for Jen. Let's say she is. She's going to be a witness and a trial is going to go down. It might not go down when you guys think it's going to go down, because I'm going to get to that too, but it's going to go down. It really is. It's death penalty qualified for all the crimes that Stephan Sterns committed. Maybe not hers in their opinion, but it should be.
Not been a perfect person.
Close
but
to, or not close.
What I said to you earlier was this. This offender really wants to share the blame with somebody, and I don't want to help him. And part of what happens is that we really underestimate how calculating offenders are. I think initially what I said to you was the thing I don't hear anyone talking about is that Jen has this bipolar diagnosis. And
all right, so we're going to hear her out, you guys. I know you guys are already getting upset. Jen does have a bipolar. She has a bipolar and all kinds of other anxiety issues. Doesn't matter. None of that matters, but we're gonna hear Beth out. All right. Thank you, Foxy Amazon, for the Guilty of Crime membership. You could already see me getting to a level 10 with what I'm saying here. You can already see that I'm getting upset that we're making excuses for Jen Soto when we know her better. We watched part 1 and part 2 of Grisha's video, and we could see right through Jen Soto, especially when we took those glasses off and her face, that behind her glasses, that face of a predator is what I see. A predator and up to no good. She's very calculating, Jen Soto, in my opinion. But let's hear Beth out.
I've heard people talk about that, but there's a lot of reading Jen as guilty based on her emotionless expressions or way of communicating. And in the one interview with the detectives, she talked about the medication that she's on. That medication stabilizes your mood by leveling everything out. It can have a sedating effect, and it has, by its very nature, the effect of suppressing emotions. A lot of people who have bipolar disorder actually fail on their medications because they stop taking them because they will tell you they can't feel anything. And so I think that's part of what's happening, and I haven't heard anyone say that yet. Again, that does not excuse anything she did that contributed to the situation.
But it is something like I have watched those videos and listened to those conversations and gone, what is the matter with this person? She's not concerned about her own daughter. She's really just kind of coming to the defense of Stephan Sterns. And
all right, so let me tell you, first of all, Gavin and I are on the same team. Gavin and I want this bitch, Jen Soto, to be smashed. We want that potato to go to jail. We want the bad, worst thing that can happen to Jennifer Soto to happen to Jennifer Soto. So Gavin is on the same page. You've seen his content. He knows what's up. I believe that Jen Soto also was taking illegal drugs. We saw that. We looked and we saw we think some Xanax bars from off the street. And I'm sure that lazy potato Jen was buying things from the so-called black market off the streets, using Maddie's money to get drug. I shouldn't even say that word, but drugs. They were taking Maddie's money and buying street medication. It was not just Stephan. So yes, and you're right, Hurricane. Holly, Jen's family is coddling her. They are protecting her, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's out of guilt. I don't know what. What's up, lovely Leo? Good to see you guys. If you guys can afford to get a membership, please do. I see Synth Server just gave us 10 Guilty of Crime memberships. So you guys make sure that your gifting is turned on. Tomorrow I'm giving out merchandise from the Guilty of Crime store and one of my books. So you guys get a book and merchandise. All right. So yeah, please make sure that you're opted in, and please come tomorrow at 4 p.m. so you can be involved in the giveaway. I know you guys want some Guilty of Crime merch. All right, let's listen up. Let's listen to Gavin and then listen to her.
And she's not, I mean, there was one time where she called the murder part evil, but the other part, the 5-year abuse of Madeline, she just called that she actually just kind of glossed over it. Yeah, there's that, but the murder is what's really evil, right? So I think what you just described, I have been guilty. I've been wondering, what the devil, man? Why does she act that way? And one of the things that you mentioned to me in your message to me, your email, was that people like Mr. Sterns, they look for guardians that have this kind of mental disorder, right?
Absolutely right. So the other thing I think that is probably happening with her is, I would guess that she has maybe some limitations in her cognitive abilities. Like, if we knew her schooling history, that she was probably in supportive classes. Her vocabulary is pretty simplified. She seems to take longer than normal to process concepts that people are giving to her. And some of the things, like the language about, well, I didn't think he had done something evil.
Yeah.
I don't think she has kind of good reaction timing. She does not have the normal timing that we kind of expect in, most people. So I think she's got a couple of things happening at the same time. And yes, part of what I said to you was, these offenders, if you spend time with them and you post conviction, if they'll talk a little bit about what.
And we're listening to her, but those are great comments down there. So make sure you guys get your comments here, because all of you guys, whether you give me a super chat or a super sticker, I put your questions up. I respond to you guys. That's a very good question from Vicky when she says, "Hey, Jen showed so much concern and very animated. No late response or slow response when it came to Stephan Sterns. But how come she all of a sudden has an excuse to have no emotion or no response because of her bipolar? But with Stephan, she protected him like she was a linebacker and she was on the front line of a football team. Man, that just doesn't make any sense. So is Jen fooling so-called experts? We're not going to let her fool anybody. Remember that. Michelle Legrand, thank you so much. Let's help Jay, everyone. Merry Christmas too. Thank you. Merry Christmas to all of you guys. If someone wants to match Michelle, that'd be great. Choo choo. Get that train going. But let's not give any excuses. Mental health is not an excuse. You're right, Sin Server. I agree. All right, let's go. Exactly, Jay. Who said that? I miss chat's flying, you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
They're doing, what they will tell you is that they test their targets, right? So they'll go to a playground and start talking to kids. And if they can get away with talking to a kid for a few sentences and no one intervenes, then they'll continue to press that target.
Oh.
If, however, they go to a playground or wherever they are and they start to talk to a kid, like sometimes you'll hear, oh, well, their parents stepped over right away because they, and asked me who I was. So I knew I had to leave that one alone. Or they'll say a sibling came over and intervened and said, to the target, we don't talk to strangers. Let's go find mom. And the offenders will tell you, I had to move away from that kid because I knew the sibling would be a problem for me. So offenders are very calculated about, they're not just looking for a child that they want to target, they're vetting the gateway. And I think I said to you, we talk a lot about grooming children and we don't talk so much about grooming the gateway. And I think
real quick, getting to like the example you just said. So on the playground, they approach a child that they have abusive intent.
And before Gavin even says that, we already know what she's saying. Like everybody else, Stephan groomed Jen. We know he groomed Maddie for sure. But I am going to say, in the very beginning, I'm going to say that he did groom Jen. He was friends with Jen. He didn't want to hook up with Jen, in my opinion. He hung out with her for almost 18 months, and not once did his winky get hard, I'm going to bet, until Jen said, hey, let's hook up. And he said, yeah, sure. He was targeting her and grooming her so he can spend the attention and time on Maddie, but not grooming her in the way that she didn't understand what he wanted, how Jen was benefiting, how Stephan was benefiting, and didn't think about Maddie at all. But yes, he knew those 18 months where he didn't get hard for Jen. He was pining after Maddie. I don't want to say anything too bad, but he knew what he was going to get. Millie, what's up, my girl? Good to see you. Love you. Hit the like button. Get yourself a membership, Millie. We want to see you on Friday. We're going to have an amazing members only on Friday, and we're giving away merchandise. She preferred him over her own daughter, and Stephan preferred Maddie over Jen, but he knew she was a target and Stephan was a missile going straight for her, ready to get Maddie. He had her as long as he could until Jen said, hey, do you want to hook up? And he's like, yeah, sure. 18 months, Teresa, 18 months. He didn't even think about hooking up with Jen. He was thinking about Maddie. He was enjoying Maddie being on his shoulders in the bathing suit, taking pictures with Maddie, following Maddie, FaceTiming Maddie, sleeping in bed with Jen and Maddie, coming out of the bathroom butt naked in front of Maddie. It wasn't about Jen, and she was getting what she got, and everybody was getting what they wanted except for Maddie. And I'm going to say at some point, Maddie probably did think that she had this love for Stephan when she sent him those little coins that said, let's be parent coins. We can switch off. We really need these, Stephan, the parent coins. I believe there was a love-hate. She hated what he was doing to her. She hated the pain that he was giving to her, but she liked the attention because she was a little girl, you guys. And that's what little girls do. They want attention. Ugh. All right. I'm off my rant.
They have interest in this child, right?
Mhm.
If nobody comes up right away, I mean, that doesn't just mean that there's not a parent there. There could possibly
Right
be a
away.
parent there, but they're just not, that they're not recognizing the danger. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. What that is saying is that it's at least giving the initial signal to the offender that these parents are not attuned to problems, or that they're overly trusting, or that they're just generally not aware of what's happening around their child. And all of that presents an opportunity to the offender to get to the child.
Oh, yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
so in Maddie's case, if I remember correctly, Mr. Sterns met Jen at work. So I would imagine that Jennifer would probably have a picture of her daughter or like a little family group on her desk. She'd probably talk. I mean, in corporate environments that I have worked in, everybody knows about all of my kids and my wife and all the stuff that we're doing because.
But here's the thing, and they're talking about this right now. They're talking about what we're talking about, just different scenarios. The coins, I said that also, that they were meant for time with Stephan and Jen. That's what I think. But the thing is that Maddie wanted more time with Stephan. There was many times on a daily basis that they were talking on a Zoom or a FaceTime or a whatever, where Stephan had her in complete control, even from afar. So yes, well, I've talked to a few people on my channel that say, hey, I had a groomer and I hated him and I loved him all at the same time. I hated what he was doing, but I love that now it's not real attention. It's not real love. It's the CSA. It's the control. It's the them being passed out. It's the weird sex that they're doing when they are not even alive. They're just so drugged up that they're barely breathing. That's what he liked. And not necessarily Maddie. Okay. And Maddie just wanted attention. And that was the attention she was getting, because she sure wasn't getting it from her mom.
That's the most important thing to me, right? And even if Jen is like what we wouldn't consider the world's greatest parent, she still did appear to love her daughter, right? So this could be something where Stephan sees, oh, I see a picture. There is a daughter there. And with my interactions at work with Jennifer, I see that she is an open gateway. Is that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think that that's quite possible. That's a great example of a place where someone would be sizing a person up. And the thing about it is, I think it appears to me that this potential combination of characteristics, maybe some cognitive issues and some mental health issues, she does not appear to me to be a person who can actually survive wholly independently, right? Her dad owns the condo she lives in. She seems to have kind of a string of lower paying jobs.
You know, I don't see there's love is a different kind of love, Allie. Love is something way different than you would give or I would give to anybody in these people's lives. Jen loved the having a built-in babysitter. She loved that she controlled Stefan. She loved that she held all the cards. So yes, did it happen in the beginning that Stefan saw this weird ass lady that looks like a potato that nobody else is going after? And she has this daughter that's a perfect age for CS or CSA, whatever, CSAM, whatever he wanted to do. Yes, initially. But Jen was also educated to be a teacher at Maddie's school and see the signs. And her mom told her, don't ever let a man infiltrate your house or sleep with your daughter or any of that stuff. So she knew better and she had those strings. And yes, Stefan, they both got what they needed mutually. And Maddie didn't get anything she needed, but it's a different kind of love than you or me have. Because if somebody did that to me, let's say somebody wanted access to Reese. Okay. They wanted access to Reese. They started being like, oh, I better be friends with Jay so I can get access to Reese. You better bet your freaking ass that they wouldn't get that close of access to her no matter what they did. I just want you guys to know that. So it's a different person, a different thing, different trade-offs that they had that Maddie didn't have. She was just there in the middle, being both of their pass back and forth. Pure evil, right, Sharon? That's all I got to say, too. Exactly. They both profited from each other.
Snug. She has a job where she stayed somewhere and, earns a good living, and she has roommates with her. All of that to say this, I think that she's pretty dependent on another adult to kind of be her leader. She seems like she needs someone else to kind of, just sort of guide her through life. I think it's possible that her dad was doing that because he's the person that made sure she was housed. And I think it's possible, Dad apparently bought a van and went on the road or something. And I think it's possible that when her dad left, Stefan filled that spot. And a lot of people who have those kind of limitations are very drawn to people who are nice to them. Maybe they've experienced bullying in the past. They're drawn to people who seem more confident than they are.
Yeah.
So if you're a predator and you are realizing that these limitations are there and you can slide in and become her leader, that is really a benefit to you. Now, that additionally, the thing that would be a benefit here to Mr. Sterns is that the limitations Jen has are not overt, right? They don't stop her from working. She doesn't appear to have like an ongoing case manager.
No, they don't stop her from working, you guys. As a matter of fact, she only works enough so that she can still collect SSI, scam the PPP loan, and that time frame matched up beautifully when she lived with her mom in between living at the condo when her dad said he was going to sell it. So I believe Yolanda and her did that together. They split that money. The only thing that happened with Jen is that she only wanted to work enough to where she couldn't play the system, you guys. All right. Rosemary says, I never heard of vanilla sex. I'm 60 with a husband of 14 years. I don't have any interest due to bipolar meds. But my God, it's not an effing excuse for Jen Soto. You know, a good point, Rosemary, is that if she knew that she didn't want to have sex with Stefan, why would you put this man's not getting any. Why put your daughter in between them and let him wake up with a wood every morning with your daughter in between you and the man that wakes up with a wood? Guilty of crime. Every time you talk about Jen and her drugs makes me hungry for a loaded baked potato. There's your baked potato. All right, you guys, let's get those memberships for this week if you can. Like, subscribe, super chat, super sticker, all that. And thank you guys. All right, let's keep going.
She doesn't have intervention of the system. There aren't a bunch of people in her house and in her business all the time. So the advantage to him was that he found someone who was perhaps naive, perhaps dependent, but not so dependent that it triggers the intervention of any outside parties.
Now, what about this comment that Jackie is saying? Jackie is saying, don't forget she was a teacher, so her intellect can't be too bad. What do you think about? I don't know that she was a full-time teacher. I think she was a substitute teacher.
She was a substitute
yeah. So
teacher.
my first thought was,
She was
schools
trained.
are very, very desperate for substitute teachers, and I don't know how long she did that.
There are a lot of excuses here, aren't they? It doesn't matter if they're desperate for substitute teachers, you still learn. If you see something, say something, and you guys know what I mean by that. You have to go through bits of training, and she told us that her mom embedded in her to never let a man get near your daughter. So that goes right out the window for me when I hear that they're desperate for substitute teachers. She knew. She was also a concierge, and she handled a lot of things, which had to keep her going sharp, a sharp mind in what was going on. Thank you, Michelle Legrand, for the Guilty of Crime membership. What's up, Quest for Truth? Hello, everybody. Yeah, Letitia Stout. All right, let's keep going. No excuse.
And if she wasn't assigned to a classroom permanently, she didn't have to do any actual subject matter teaching. And I don't know what grades she was in, right? If they were putting her in senior calc, that's one thing. But if she was, subbing in a preschool or a kindergarten class, that's different, right? Because her abilities with different age ranges would be better, like her intellectual match would be better with younger children than older children. So I did hear that she was a substitute teacher. I didn't explore all the parameters of that, but being an occasional substitute teacher is far different than being, in a classroom regularly, actually having to teach a subject, I think.
Gotcha. Okay, so getting back to that part where you're talking about, there's no intervention by any governmental agency. Child Protective Services aren't in and out of there. Is that something that
Well, I'll tell you right now why she was with him, Wendy. Do I need to really tell you? She had a free babysitter. She had a companion. She had a man companion that was there to help her with whatever she wanted to while she was got to sleep or do whatever. And she also got DRUGS. I'm going to tell you right now. And she didn't have to give up sex. She said Stephan didn't even mind not having sex with her. He would just go out with other women, or he would have Maddie. He was fine with that. So the four things right there I just named that benefited Jen Soto for Stephan Sterns and Stephan Sterns for Jen Soto. All right. So that's just right there. And yeah, she let Maddie sleep in a room with loaded GUN and lube and a tripod. And she directed the cops to that room. Yeah, they were all sleeping in those interviews too. All right, let's keep going.
The offenders that you've worked with over your 3-decade career, is that something that they're specifically attuned to?
Oh yes. If you have a child protective case manager who's showing up at the house unannounced, once a month, a child predator doesn't really want to be around for that. They will sometimes, depending on how far they are from home and if they have a prior criminal record, a lot of things go into their calculations. But in this particular situation, as a predator, he really found he was probably very excited about this great opportunity.
Oh, that's actually really that's really sad. Yeah. Lori, well, it's gross is what it is. It's beyond sad. It's disgusting. It's revolting that, a predator like that would think in those terms, right? I've got
one of the things that's really difficult for people to wrap their mind around, and I hear less analysis of his behavior maybe than Jen's, and I think it's because most people are not sex offenders and their parents, and they can relate to what Jen should have done, what the expectation should have been, right?
Yeah.
But it's harder to know what's really going on in the head of a sex offender, and that's because it's the way that they view this is disturbing. It's terrible. And it's not something most people ever have to see or think about or hear from them. I think that this I think I told you earlier, he wants to share this blame and I don't want to help him. I think this dorky, well, I don't really know what's going on and I don't have a job. And, I don't know, I was buying Dungeons and Dragons cards or whatever the heck you said.
Yeah, Pokemon and Tamagotchi and the whole thing. Yeah.
That is all a put on. This man is so calculating. I think the last thing I saw for sure was that they had found at this point 35,000 CCM images.
Yeah.
I heard somewhere that it was up over 100,000. I mean, this is a distribution warehouse full of child pornography. I don't have 70,000 pictures of my whole darn family. Most of us probably don't. You're not keeping that level of material for your own use. I would be very surprised.
Well, that we know, and we'll correct her in going this direction because we know Stephan was trading that as well. And I say we know that because the officers have said that in the images, 3,500 of Maddie, 39,000 non-pictures of Maddie. That you said it right there, non-pictures of Maddie. That's it right there. So he was, in my opinion, making money from those and trading those. And that's how he's buying Tamagotchi with different kinds of cryptocurrency. But he was also paying into Jen's fund, and we don't know what exchange. I hope that we find out what exchange of currency came between Stephan and Jen Soto, because we know the parents were paying $600 a month for him to stay there. But what was he paying? All right. God love my therapist. I feel like this is the kind of therapy I received after being traumatized. I would feed into it also. I feel like people are feeding into this lady's perspective. They're feeding into Jen Soto. There are some people feeding into Jen Soto. You wouldn't believe it. What's up, Marcy? Good to see you. And you guys, I see some trolls out here in chat, so be careful. Be ready with your troll spray, all right, you guys? Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and don't forget to share.
If he was not selling that material. He didn't seem to be gainfully employed, but occasionally had money. I would suspect that that's where that's coming from.
Well, what I'm wondering, and maybe you have some insight into this, and I don't want this video to be an instruction manual for would-be predators, right? Number one, you're saying that all the childish behavior isn't a failure to launch, but more of a camouflage. Am I understanding that?
100%, yes.
So that's something that I've misunderstood the whole time. One of these, like since we've started with this case, I think that was back in March that I picked up this case. I've been kind of wondering, well, is Mr. Sterns he's a 37-year-old, 12-year-old. I've kind of wondered that, but
yep.
I mean, you're telling me that's not the case. This is somebody who just puts on the camouflage,
right? Because I would dare say, so far, probably the general public's belief system about him is, he might be on drugs. He's just kind of hapless. This woman, sort of didn't have any guardrails, so he was just able to do it. It might be that he's got a fixation with this one kid. I don't think any of that is true. I think that
Crystal, what do you mean it won't let you renew the membership? Maybe after the episode, go onto my page and hit join again. And Crystal, I have many Crystals, but are you the Crystal? Let me know in chat. Are you the Crystal that's going to come on my show in maybe a week or so and let me interview you and share your story and talk about how your story relates to Madeline Soto's case? We'll make sure you get your membership. If you even look at my name, I'm in green right now. I have my own membership to my own channel. So we'll get you hooked back up. You just hit the join button or go into your email and click renew, because I want you to be here for Friday's giveaway. Okay. All right, let's keep going. And we know who's a troll and who's not. I know all of you guys aren't. When I see the troll comments, I see them. They'll let you. It will. I got you, Crystal. We'll take care of it. We'll get you in before Friday.
He targeted this family because he knew that the gateway was weak. I think that there are a lot of things that he says or does where he reshapes Jen's reality, which I think is not probably very hard to do, right? So if he has money and she says, "Oh, where'd you get money?" I'm certain he's lying to her constantly that he won at gambling or got it from his parents. I think the other thing that's really difficult for people to understand is this. The way I would phrase it is this. He doesn't have the kind of expected full-time job that, sort of the normal public has, but he has a full-time job. His sexual offending is his full-time job. It's his full-time focus. People would be distraught if they could hear in his head how most of his day is arranged around some behavior related to his offending.
Okay, so this is like a Dexter, where he is just drawn to this offense, and everything that he does is in support of getting that fix, I guess, right? Hey, Shu Tomsano says, Meeks, I think he means Beth Meeks. Do groomers use gaslighting and blame shifting? I think that's what you're talking about a little bit, right?
100%.
Describe that for us a little bit.
Now, I want to tell you that Jen Soto was the person that probably gaslit and blame shifted and did things to Sterns, like send him to go live home with his parents or kick him out to make him want it even more, to want him to come back even more, to pay attention even more, to do a little more, to get her DRUGS a little more. So I don't see their dynamic anyway in the way that Beth is describing. I think she's describing a typical situation that used to be typical, where a mom would be blindsided because, they have this great stepdad relationship with their daughter. He's not a stepdad. He didn't even come into her life like that for 18 months, a year and a half. And then when they did, when you listen to the timeline, so many times she sent him away. He was dating other women or trying to date other women. And I believe when he was trying to date other women, he was also trying to find more victims, more CSA. He was trying to do that. Because when he told that lady in that interview that we listened to that he rolled over and had a wood, he wanted to see what she was going to say, because she also had a daughter, you guys. So that's the relationship was very, very mutual. I'll tell you that right now. Don't be fooled by any of this. That would be a typical. Nowadays, there's no typical. The typical is I see mothers selling their children for $200 and even less. Now, the bipolar stuff, most of the bipolar stuff, we feel better, great. And the presence, she was on way more than just the medication for anxiety and bipolar. She was taking as much as she can get. I'll tell you that right now. They both have this mutual thing. So did he gaslight her? Sure. Did he blame shift her? Sure. Did she do that to him? Sure. And they probably both did that to Maddie.
So, for instance, he probably at some point, he may have laid hints about, I know it's hard for Maddie to sleep in here with you. So, she should probably go sleep somewhere else. Oh, that her bedroom's not really a great place to sleep. She should probably just go up to the guest room. Oh, well, I know I'm going to be in there too. So this culminates in him kind of leading her towards this conclusion that it's fine for Maddie to go sleep in a room with him. And later, and again, yes, a normal functioning parent would know and should know to say no to that.
Thank you.
In my opinion, she's very dependent. She's very manipulable. I think he would talk people into something and sort of lead them to believe it was their idea.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes me beg another question. Then we'll get to Patty's question. But she had two roommates in the house, one of which had known her forever, had known Madeline since she was born. She's described as Jennifer's sister's best friend, right? They were childhood friends. They've known each other forever. And she said stuff like, no, Jennifer was a great mom. Jennifer loved Madeline. She was a great mom. So, I mean, how does that square?
Well, I think most people,
Now, before she answers, I don't know how she's going to answer this, but let me tell you what, maybe people thought Jen was a great mom because she introduced Stephan like he was a stepdad. To this day, I see content creators putting out this Jen Soto, Madeline Soto story, and they've got 300,000 views, and they sit there and say Stephan Sterns, the stepdad of Madeline Soto and boyfriend of Jen Soto. Don't know that that's an ex-boyfriend. It was an ex-boyfriend, never a stepdad. They didn't even have that kind of relationship. As a matter of fact, Jen Soto was worried about the Woody Allen thing because she didn't want them to fall in love and her go run off to Stephan when she turned 18. So I think people are missing that side of the case, or why she couldn't sleep with Jen anymore, because she couldn't risk it, you guys. So there's a lot missing in this story right here that people don't see, that obviously don't see all the details. Right, she is the master manipulator to Stephan and Maddie. Go sleep upstairs. I needed to get right now rest. Does that statement sound like someone who's being manipulated? Agreed. Absolutely. That nailed it.
A lot of people inaccurately rate competence as kindness. Here's a strange story. I went out to dinner one night with a few friends, and we lived in a small town, so we all had the same doctor. And everybody at the table is like, oh, isn't he wonderful? He's a wonderful doctor. He's so nice. It's great. My kid had poison ivy and he misdiagnosed it as something else. Oh, then, but he's a great doctor. So then the next person says, he misdiagnosed my blah, 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 something or other. So over the next few minutes, 4 people at the table said he had misdiagnosed something, but they kept saying what a great doctor he was. And I said, hey, y'all, I don't think the empirical evidence supports the conclusion. I said, 4 of us have been misdiagnosed by this man. I think he's a nice man. That does not mean he's a good doctor. I think a lot of people would see that Jen was affectionate to Maddie, that she was proud of her. I don't know that equates to being a good barrier system around your child who's got good boundaries and
All right, real quick before we get to that, did Grish come out with a part 3 Minnesota Girl? Because we did that over on our channel. Anyway, let's get back to this, but I'll react to that as soon as I do see a part 3. But let's listen to some more about what Jennifer is not.
Identify as sex offenders. I think she was a good parent in a number of ways. I think that's true.
What?
Well, I've got so many more questions along this line. It's a lot easier to convince somebody of something than to convince somebody that they're wrong about something, right? So once somebody gets in their head that, oh, Jen's a great mom, maybe it would take a lot in order to change your opinion about that, right? Okay, Patty says, Gavin, I've worked in mental health for several years and said previously that Jen's meds likely made her have a flat effect. This expert is very enlightening. So it wasn't a question, it was a compliment. That's why I brought that up. So let's see. Before I asked you the question about the roommate,
I still didn't get an answer on why people would say that she was a good mom. The only thing I can think of that she actually did, if you saw the perception of it, would be that she had if people really did think Stephan was a good guy, that she brought herself in this great stepdad for Maddie that does everything for her that Jen doesn't do. But what did she do for Maddie? All I ever heard was them fighting, her being jealous, Maddie wanting to move to the woods when she was 13, and then Jen saying she's going to kick her out when she's 18. Yeah, you did just hear that. I'm not really sure what part, if someone can tell me in chat, what part made Jen Soto a good mom? I can't think of one thing at all, because she made her go to school. That's like the basic necessities to feed them and make them go to school. Wow, that's about all she did, you guys. Leanne Wilson, thank you so much for the $2 super sticker. Choo choo. Appreciate you guys. Man, that's crazy. I just want to know what constitutes that. And I didn't get to thank you earlier, but thank you. I don't know how to pronounce your name just yet, but I'll get it. All right, let's keep going. What constitutes her being a good mom? I want a list. Rosemary Frischman, thank you so much for the $2 super sticker. I appreciate you guys. Much love. Much love. Thank you. And Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. I'm going to be with you guys on Christmas Eve, so don't worry.
What were we talking about? I had so many questions about that. I guess I
Exactly.
lost my train of thought. That I don't know.
We'll find it.
Oh, I just no, it came to me.
Come
All
on,
right.
Gavin.
I am curious about your opinion, since we're talking about you're an expert witness here. I'm curious about your opinion on the idea that Jen may have been involved and maybe even envious or jealous of the relationship between Madeline and Stephan. And the theory goes, and I have to say I probably bought into this pretty early on. I almost felt like Jen, how could she not know what was going on? And could she have been, and I know everybody hates this word, but it's the perfect description of what I'm feeling here. Could she have been pimping her daughter to Stephan for the purpose of making him happy in order to make herself happy, I guess? Is that, I don't know.
And you see why we love Gavin, because he just straight up said, was she pimping her daughter out? Now remember, it doesn't have to be a formal thing where you say, hey, Stephan, check this out. I'm going to have you pimp my daughter out. Why don't you get that app and you see how the going rate is? Can you get $100 for a picture? Let's pimp her out. It doesn't have to be like that. It's literally just the basic idea of her getting DRUGS in exchange for giving Maddie or giving Stephan access to Maddie and giving a half a room where they can go and do things and giving him the access with the room and a tripod and a big old bottle of lube. That is really what we're talking about here. That is absolutely what we're talking about. Yeah, very accurate. Very accurate. I love how he said that. And this is right. Veronica, I haven't seen you in a bit, but she pretends to be stupid. It's worse than just being a bad mama up front, because it shows you that she's evil, conniving, and very manipulative. That's the word I would give Jen Soto, is manipulative.
I don't know if I'm even making that sound okay.
Yeah, no, like that she was sort of just overlooking it and letting him have access to her child so that she could keep him around, I think is probably the sentiment that's
okay. Yeah.
Like, I think there are a lot of people who are like, don't want to face the sexual abuse because they don't want to lose their husband or whatever it is.
Yeah,
so
that
I'll
happens.
say this. I don't think Jen was involved, at least not in any sort of knowing way, right? Because I don't think she could lie convincingly to these detectives. There's a whole nother thing to talk about there. Honestly, I think this department has done a great job of handling their interviews.
Oh, yeah.
As well as just the patrol officers and the officers doing follow-up. I mean, I'm really impressed at sort of the consistency in their interviewing techniques, right?
Well, and if you actually just compound that by the fact that there are 3 agencies working on this case and they're all working so well together and pulling on the same end of the rope, right? They're all, I have been really impressed, and I've seen a lot of documents and I've seen a lot of reports over the years. I've sat through a.
Now I want to tell you this: her lying was only convincing you guys because they don't have any evidence to back up anything. They don't have evidence. They don't have a text message that I know of that says from Stephan Sterns to Jen Soto, hey, I need her from 8 till 10 o'clock at night. We're going to be shooting some pictures for that app that I need to upload to, or any kind of exchanges that they found, or her being in any pictures. That's the only reason why her lying is convincing, is because we're not having proof. But yeah, pimping Maddie by making SS babysit her, or making him go give her the nighttime routine by showering her, a 13-year-old, even a 12-year-old, even a 10-year-old, even a 9-year-old, even an 8-year-old. That is as simple as that. I can't risk this anymore. I mean, we can go on and on and on. Yeah, $300 Botox appointment. First of all, I don't know who can get Botox for $300, y'all. Let's be real. It's like $10 a unit. Martha Garcia, you know. I see your picture there. You know Botox is going to cost at least $1,000 for her kind of face. And we're talking, if we're not talking filler or none of that stuff. So I don't know what she was going to get for $300, or if that was Maddie's money necessarily that she was going to use, because they were counting Maddie's birthday money, you guys. They were literally counting her birthday money, and she didn't contribute to that fund. She's a case study with herself. The entire Soto family is soulless and hiding something. Absolutely. Yeah, $300 can't save her. And if any of you guys know anything about Botox, filler, whatever, you're not getting anything for that amount at all. You're talking more $500-$600 for the basic necessities.
A lot of trials. They're doing a great job.
Yeah, they're doing a good job. And there were some reports that Jen was in a facility. I don't know what that means. I took it to mean getting inpatient mental health treatment, which did not surprise me at all. And I thought seemed very consistent with her mental health condition and with kind of my observations about her potential limitations.
So what would that mean for her? What if she's checking into a facility, which we've all heard those rumors as well? Well, it was in documents. It was in a
it's not a rumor.
It was in an audio recording, as I remember. Her lawyer at his
yes, thank you, Gavin.
You know, his advice was to check in. So what kind of treatment would she be seeking in that kind
of? Well,
I
think it's possible that the sort of the pressure that she was under was just compounding any existing condition she had. I think at some point she talked about maybe also having depression, and that would be very common that you would have other co-occurring disorders.
All right, real quick. Now, her disorder, I do know that she had a massive anxiety and she wanted to keep using that excuse. And she did check herself into mental hospitals for 3 days, a 72-hour hold. And I know many people that do that to stop what they're doing in life. They have an excuse to get away, dump the kid off, not have to pay bills. I believe she was so manipulative that she did have some kind of anxiety thing at certain times, but she also did it for the drugs, you guys. She checked herself in when she was out of her medication and she needed more meds and an excuse to get rid of all of her things that she needed to do. Cosmic Thrifter, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Maddie didn't have obvious abuse, bruises, and sheltered Maddie. My mother did this crap. It was never love, it's control. Same thing. Thank you for the message. I appreciate that. Yes, she is a dumpster fire. Absolutely. And thank you, Veronica, for being real. Lip fillers, you've done that before, like $400. Barely. I know in the Bay Area here, we're not talking even close to that, but Bay Area is twice as much as almost anywhere else. All right. Yeah, she could Botox the smile gummy away. Insurance won't let her stay for more than a few days. And you don't even need insurance, you guys. You do not need insurance to go put yourself in a hospital for 72 hours. You can go say, I'm having a mental breakdown and an episode, and they will check you in for 72 hours and give you the drugs that you need, that you're detoxing off. They're going to help you. They're not going to just let you die there. So I know that because I've seen many people. My brother has diagnosed with bipolar and such, and he's been checked into hospitals for 72 hours so he can get himself back to normal. Crystal Burns, yes, absolutely. Thank you for supporting, Jay. By the way, absolutely, Crystal. I got you. We'll get you covered. All right. Don't worry about that. All right. Let's keep going, and email me after if you would. So mental checking in, that I believe that's why.
With bipolar. And I think, medication has its limits. So she probably needed a place where maybe she could be more heavily sedated for a while. She may have needed a place where she could have sort of intensive talk therapy with someone who can help her process some of what's happening. If she doesn't process information well, all of this information is coming at her, and it's probably overwhelming. I would think that her depression is exacerbated. So she probably did need at least temporary inpatient help to adjust meds, maybe add meds, probably process and kind of decompress. Is she out of the facility?
We don't know.
I mean, I hope that it does it.
I'll tell you right now, she's not in there. She initially, from what I was told from the Florida people, after this happened and she did all the interviews that we saw on TV and Stephan got arrested. So one neighbor saw her walking up and down her street one last time, and then she checked herself in to a mental hospital, and then she lawyered up. Julie, you're very welcome. Thank you, Leanne Wilson, and thank you, Rosemary Frischman. I appreciate you guys. Let me just give you a quick and I know I don't have to do this because you guys love me and I love you, and you know my channel is fan funded, which means what I pay for works on fan funding and whatever YouTube wants to give me. And as we grow into a bigger channel, my expenses go up. So right now I'm paying for StreamYard, and I'm paying to have high res streaming to you guys so you can watch it on TV and it not be pixelated, and all the other stuff I have to pay for, my website to host it, the maintenance. So my keeping up my channel is a few $100s a month, and that's how my channel is funded by my fans. So I appreciate you. I just wanted to give you that little bit of info because I saw a troll in her earlier saying that it was tacky for me to have my dollar sign up. They called me tacky. So there was a troll in here earlier, but I just want to let you guys know I love you and I appreciate you. And that's why.
Doesn't cause a break from reality, although I acknowledge that that's possible. Yeah, I'm certain she's not in probably a good mental space. At any rate, I don't think she could keep it from the cops. I don't think she could lie consistently. Here's the other thing that I find really interesting. We all want to know why she didn't do something or why she didn't know that he was offending her.
Yeah.
But I just listened to an interview where Stephan's mother says
Yes.
Maddie told her she and Stephan were sleeping in a bed together.
Yeah.
And she thought it was strange. And Maddie said something like, "Isn't that great?" And she said, "No, it is not great." I can't remember if she said she mentioned it to Jen or what the situation is. But also, none of these roommates knew that she was sleeping in a room with him.
Yeah. Again, that is one of those things where I'm like, how do people not notice?
So the common denominator is what? It's him.
Well, it's him. Yeah, it's Stephan.
And his manipulations and the work he does to cover things up, that's intentional. So it's not just that Jen had limitations. It's that those limitations were being exploited.
Well, you were talking about earlier in
Now, I really truly believe that Beth Meeks is going by clinical studies and what she learned. But yeah, there are some people, Michelle, that actually are for Jen Soto. They feel bad for her. Jen didn't get arrested. I mean, there's a whole Gray Hughes Investigates channel that is on the side of Jen Soto. Yeah, they did. It was a flop house. It's a brothel over there. That's what I think. SS mom and dad covered up his prior CSAN. They knew. They paid it off, you guys. They knew exactly what Stephan was into. And Tracy Pope, you're all good. Hit the like button. You're those people that support my channel by getting me in the algorithm, and I appreciate you guys. I just want you to know, in order to keep my page and my channel going, I have to pay for expenses like streaming and having high definition and websites and da 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 da. So that's how I exist, and I appreciate you guys for those of you that know. Thank you.
Describing it very well, I thought, about the predator testing the gatekeeper to make sure that the gatekeeper's the gate is open. And I know I'm not describing that really well, but in this case where she has two other roommates, he would have to do the same with them, right?
Well, and somehow he had gained everyone's trust. I mean, he was apparently filming one of the roommates without their knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. Like
This is such a calculated offender. This hapless, this costume he puts on with his, beat up car and stocking cap, that
And I did think she focused on Stephan Sterns because he's the one that got arrested. So I'm going to give her a little bit for that, not knowing the case. But Stephan Sterns didn't clean. Diamond Girl, would you be surprised to learn that Stephan only cleaned the day he was cleaning up a crime scene or a MURDR scene? The only time he ever did laundry or cleaned up the room or the kitchen was when he was covering up a crime. Jen Soto actually went to Stephan Sterns' house and cleaned his room at his parents' house. So I want you to know that. I want you to know that his mom probably did his laundry. And when we saw his laundry in Maddie's basket, I bet you Jen Soto or even Maddie was doing his laundry. I'd beg to differ on anything that anyone else would say. He never cleaned. So it's very odd that he was cleaning that day that Maddie went missing. He did smell real bad. His room was disgusting. The other roommate, CM, that talked to us said that Stephan Sterns was a nasty pig. That's the first time I had ever heard about how dirty Stephan Sterns was, and that Jen Soto went to his house to go clean his room at his parents' house. All right. Now, she was playing it up, I'm sure, to his parents to act like she was a good girlfriend, but they still think bad of her, and you know that. Yeah, this subject is triggering, so thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being on this topic and still being able to agree to disagree and hear things that you might not like. I appreciate you. Leanne Wilson, thank you for the $5 a pound. My mom watched when our stepdad hit us. Memories are, yes, yes. Oh, prayers to you. And I'm glad that you guys are all here and made it through all this. Yeah, Jen, it was involved. Jen is still involved. And I can't wait to see how she testifies for the prosecution, because she will be testing for the prosecution. She's not going to be on the side of the defense.
That is such a ruse. None of that is real. I would probably bet my career on the fact that most of this man's days are spent focusing on his offenses. Either how to find a person to offend, thinking of how to offend, reminiscing about past offenses, figuring out how to clean up problems, like maybe someone is catching on and he needs to derail them. People would be disturbed to find that people who are offending at this level, especially the types of offenses that he was committing, have obviously increased in severity over time. He has a full-time job.
Well, that is my question. I mean, the likelihood, it sounds like to me, the likelihood that Madeline is his first and only victim, having been victimized for 5 years, is pretty low. Am I?
Probably pretty low. But I don't know that I would suspect if he has other victims that maybe it didn't progress to some of these things because he didn't have the same kind of access and time that he had in this situation.
You know, there was a case that I've mentioned here on the channel before, but there was a case local to me where a grown young woman, I think she was 20 or 21, out of.
Now, before he gets into that real quick, I want to tell you for sure that Maddie is not Stephan Sterns' first victim. His victims started when he was probably in junior high and high school. And then we know for sure that there were other victims because his mom paid for him to get out of filming the roommates in compromising positions in the bathroom. That is a victim. But I bet you anything, when he was in junior high and high school, he was experimenting with younger kids that he may have had access to, or any kind of anything, PORN, that he could have access to. All of those people, even the roommate that he filmed under the bathroom door, is a victim. So when he was recording his friends' girlfriends and mommy paid for it, they could have stopped there, where at least he had a target on him so people knew he was a registered offender, right? All right, Maddie's grandparents have not spoken out. The other side of the grandparents have at the vigil, but when you talk about Maddie's grandparents, which ones do you mean? Juan has. He might not have spoken to the media, and Yolanda has, but not the SoDo side, if that's what you're asking. Yeah, Stinky Sterns. All right, let's keep going. We got quite a while. It's a heated convo today, y'all.
Out of nowhere, walked into the state police and said, my stepdad started abusing me when I was X years old. And it happened until I moved out. And I just, for some reason in that moment, she had been able to work
Maybe.
through, I mean, all of the weight of everything
you.
that had been piled on her from the time she was a little girl, and she was able to walk into the state police for whatever the triggering event was. She did it. And when I read that police report, man, I was like, I had my dad tears running, man. Good for that woman, right? So I had wondered if Stephan had other victims that, like you said, it didn't progress as far maybe as it did with Maddie,
absolutely.
and they hadn't quite figured it out yet. They might be getting into early adulthood or something like that, and they might be dealing with the baggage and the ramifications. And saying things like baggage and ramifications really understates what is really happening to these victims. But given enough time, would it have been possible for 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 young women to come out and say, he did this to me? I wondered.
It could be. I think that, depending on where he's lived, how old the person, the child was that he was offending, how far the offense went. I mean, it could be something that they blew off or just kind of deleted from, your mind will override things sometimes just so you can survive. So they might not even realize that what happened was a sex offense. So I know that sounds crazy coming out of my mouth, but he started with Maddie when she was like 7, 8, right? Maybe before that.
8
maybe,
that we
maybe
know
6
of.
or 7.
It could have happened long before that.
It could have happened 2 years before that.
When these people are targeting very young children, now I'm a woman of a certain age. We didn't talk about that kind of stuff. I mean, I know now people talk about it in their classes, and we have these prevention programs even in schools that tell kids, if anybody ever, if they want to touch you and you don't want to, you don't participate, or don't let anybody touch you where your bathing suit is. We didn't talk about that kind of stuff many years ago, and in some places they still don't talk about it. And so sometimes kids don't know that what's happening is wrong, and the offender is certainly telling them it's not. And very often, if a child says, "Oh, why did you do that? I don't like that." Somebody mentioned gaslighting earlier. Here it comes.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I didn't do that. That's one of the many reasons that a very small percentage of a sex offender's victims come forward. I do think that I read or saw somewhere that there were other children besides Maddie in some of these CCM images that he had.
Well, yeah.
And I'll pause it there because there were, you guys, and nobody's been identified. But remember, the people in other images, I'm going to tell you right now, knowing and learning about this case, those people were more than likely traded images that he was getting from his online profiles that he had, his online exchanges. The last time he logged into, was it Telegram? Now Telegram does things like that. Telegram, because it's encrypted so you can't find out where it's coming from, those places like that, he would send pictures to Maddie doing things to him and say, hey, this is me, you see my marking here, and he'd show it to them, and then they trade pictures of their CSAM, etc. So it may not have been a victim that he actually did it in person, that he abused, but the pictures were being traded. So I don't know how that works when you're trying to identify victims. I'm not sure how it works, and I don't think they're going to bring those up or anyone's going to see those because they're just unknowing victims, and they're the CSAM's being traded all over the place. But yes, there were other victims, other children in those photos, you guys.
I think the 1,700 images, those were all Maddie. There were images and videos. I think those were all Maddie, but out of the 35,000 others, I think those were thousands of other victims. So to me, it seems like they probably were trading currency for people like him. I think he was probably turning that around. Yeah. Do you have any idea how that works? Like again, I don't want this to be a teaching predators how to be a predator, but like, talk about a dangerous game to find people like you, right?
Yeah. I mean, so for starters, there's a whole online world where sex offenders.
All right, and we'll get into that in just a second. I like hearing about this, so you guys can make sure you keep your children far away. Now, let me just address Lori Green. You say Jen let her daughter with a man with mental health issues and a GUN in his room with a tripod, lube, and nothing else in that room that's identifiable. When you see a room like that, you automatically think of a brothel, a flop house, whatever. Okay, so there's the first thing. Second thing, remember when Stephan and Jen met, they bonded over their gastric sleeve. So both of them already had minimal self-esteem. They were overweight when they met, real introvert people. All right. So already right there, she identified with him. They had some kind of trauma bond with her. Both of them. I'm bipolar. I have anxiety. So do I. I take a bunch of medication. So do I. So both of them. So I can't imagine her saying, well, he's got mental health issues, but she sure pointed the officers right to that room and told them there's the GUN in that top drawer. And then they went to the room and saw the slow low lotion and the other things. So that's what it is. I just wanted to break that down for you.
Hanging out together. And there are literal, chat spaces that you have to be a member to go into, and they vet each other. And they will, in those chat spaces, teach each other how to commit offenses. They will sometimes in those chat spaces, when one of them gets arrested, they will all chip in, here's some money for a defense attorney. They will have debates in those spaces about ages of children that it's okay or preferable to offend with, right? They have these very strange moral boundaries. So one of the problems with a sex offender is that someone can come and stand next to you and say, you could say,
all right, we'll get back to that in a second. But yeah, I want someone that's funny. You guys, that's a laugh. So hard to see. Says, I want someone to look at me the way Jen looks at her meds. Bump, bump. That's very funny. Now, remember, if you take Jen's priorities, the first top of the priority is her meds. And then secondly is her sleep. And then third is that little 10-hour-a-week job so she can get her meds and her sleep. And then Maddie's somewhere on the bottom there. So you're right. During this whole thing when Maddie was missing, all Jen could focus on was how she's going to get to her meds for the next day. I need to get back in that apartment. I know it's a crime scene and you're getting important information for my daughters that's missing and then later on her life taken, but I need to get in there and I need to get my meds. That's her priority. So yes, very, very funny. Good one. But bump. Let's go.
Isn't it terrible what happened to Maddie Soto? And they could say, yeah, it's horrifying. And that person could be a sex offender. They may be a sex offender who believes that you should only offend very small children because they won't remember what happened to them.
Only small children? Oh.
So when they agree with you that it's terrible what happened to Maddie, they're not necessarily agreeing that sex offenses are wrong. They may be agreeing that sex offenses with an older child are wrong. And this is how sex offenders live amongst us, and we don't know it. Yeah, so that's the first thing, is that they have these chat rooms where they hang out. And it's interesting. I was thinking about, the old days. How did they find each other? Well, again, sex offenders tend to be observers of behavior, right? Because they need to know who they can access. And they're very observant of children that they want to groom because they need to be able to lure the children into activities or trusting them, right? So they're watching constantly to learn what the child is comfortable with or afraid of. What kind of things do they like? What's their favorite food? Where do they want to go on vacation? Just anything. And
they will keep an inventory of everything that they know about.
Not yet.
Oh, that's dark.
Many sex offenders will look across a room and see another person doing what they're doing. So they know that person is probably also a sex offender, and they have some coded language that they'll use to talk to each other.
Wow. Okay, here's a good question from Words Bloom. Gavin, if Jen didn't know, why would she be worried about it turning into a Woody Allen situation? Why would she even think that if she had no clue? Have you heard about
that? And the whole, I can't risk it anymore. Let's hear what she says there. Vanny or Vanny, I'm not sure how you say that, but we'll call you V. I don't know if she's going to get away with a negligence and abuse if they don't find hard information somewhere. Now, she's not going to get away with it in in the general karmic sense. Absolutely, people already want to find Jen and to spend a few minutes with her in a room and probably do more than that. And she knows that. She told the officers when she was in that room that she couldn't go to her daughter's open funeral because people were after her, and the neighbors told her that they wanted to do bad things to her, and the whole websites and groups were talking real bad about Jen Soto. So karmically, she's never going to get away with that. She's going to have to go on the stand and testify when trial comes, because she is a key witness to both of the things. Against all logic. Good to see you. I like that face you got going on down there. If only had a ponytail out to the side. All right. Yeah, she's afraid to be the Mia Farrow of that. And Heaven, I did see your email. My daughter's 10. They haven't done sex ed, but you better believe you got a mama that's doing true crime 5 to 6 days a week. My daughter knows about this and way more of what she should watch out for. And I'm a mama bear to the fullest. So yeah, she's gonna go teach them what's up when that class comes. All right, let's listen to this, because someone just asked, if Jen didn't know, why would she be worried about it turning into a Woody Allen situation? And why I added in, would she worry about she can't risk it for Maddie to sleep in her bed? What do you have to risk?
This text that she sent.
Mm-mm.
she sent a text that basically said that she didn't want the situation with Maddie and Stephan to turn into a Woody Allen situation. That's what she called it.
Yes.
And so a lot of people have taken that to mean, well, of course she knew what was going on there. So maybe we do this exercise. I think our presupposition so far has been that
Yep.
Jennifer was cognitively disabled. She was overly medicated. She really didn't know what was going on. But is there, I mean, if we could
This is a whole video, Lizzie Liz. What are you talking about? This video today is about why does she act the way she does. Jen Soto, we're reacting to Beth Meeks, expert, talk to Gavin Fish. So what else would you like us to talk about, Lizzie? Tell me, what's up? Tell me what you want to talk about. We can probably sneak it in there, but yes, we're talking about Jen Soto and whatever these two are talking about.
change that presupposition to Jennifer did know what was going on, what would that look like in that household?
So this is the first time I'm hearing about the text, but I'll say this. If the text said, I don't want this to turn into a Woody Allen situation, and she knew what was happening, now, again, context is very important. You will hear me talk about this all the time. I'm making an assumption here that she means I don't want my daughter to basically steal my romantic partner, or I don't want my romantic partner to give up his relationship with me to have a relationship with my daughter.
Yeah.
So she doesn't want that to happen, which indicates that she wants to keep Stephan Sterns. Then wouldn't she intervene to do that? I think not intervening to keep him indicates that she didn't fully understand what was happening. Now, also, I don't have all the information that other people have, right? I know there was a lot of discussion about these officers and why haven't they charged her yet, and this little kind of...
Yeah, I've talked about that a lot.
All right, so let me break this down for you so hard to see. Jen said the words out of her mouth about Woody Allen to the officers, but the text message was the one that said, I can't risk it anymore. The officer said, what did you mean by this text message? And she didn't remember at first, but it says, I can't risk Maddie sleeping with me any longer. I can't risk it. And they asked, and she didn't really give an answer. She gave a half-cocked answer. So those are the two things that you're asking, and I'm letting you know. Yeah, hit the like button, you guys. We have 395 people in chat. We've had over 400. It's free to hit that like button. And all of you that have donated to my channel today, thank you very much. I thought Jen and the demon were not in a romantic relationship. They were off and on in a romantic relationship. I wouldn't call it romantic. I don't know about that word. I would never use that word, romantic. Were they having sex sometimes whenever it suited Jen or Stephan in between whatever was happening to Maddie? Probably. Probably. All right, let's keep going.
This immunity for a day situation they gave her. And this is one of the things that I say makes me really impressed with the way law enforcement is handling this. So I think a couple of things are happening here. My guess would be that law enforcement knows better than we know all of Jen's limitations. I think they know about her mental health issues, and they know if she has cognitive limitations. All of those kind of things, if there are subtle things Jen did, her limitations would make it difficult to go to court and assign her culpability for something very vague, right?
Mhm.
So unless she had done something overt,
Specific.
Right. Now, I also think, especially with these however many tens of thousands of images this guy has, they might need her help. So they might be being friendly with her for a while and then intending to charge her with something later. They might need her help identifying who people are in these images that he had. They might need her help tracking places that he went to so that they can look into people he spent time with and determine if they were part of his clientele that he was buying and selling from. She may accidentally give up information that she doesn't even realize is valuable to them. So they may be kind of slow walking whatever they're going to do with her to deal with more pressing problems, right? Like,
Yeah.
all of the
And
victims.
I see that in prosecutions all the time where
And hang in there, Wyatt. I have a great explanation for you guys. I have those dates for Stephan Sterns 2 trial or pre-hearing trial dates coming up. Next week, I'm going to do a Madeline Soto Christmas Eve special, and we're going to find out all that information up to date. I'm going to give you a couple of interviews that you have not heard from my channel, and I haven't seen it anywhere else. So I still have a couple audios I want to play for you. I've got a Christmas picture of Maddie from her last Christmas with her and Jen in front of a Christmas tree. So we're going to go over the updates. We're going to talk about the trial. We're going to talk about the people that we think are going to be at the trial based on the witness list and any updates that happen in between. So stay tuned. I'm also going to tell you why I don't think it's going to get to trial then, but I'm going to tell you why. I'm not just going to say, hey, it's not happening. All right, let's keep going.
even there's a prosecutor's office that I'm pretty friendly with the prosecutors in, that's out of state, but I'm friendly with them. I've done enough work with them that they trust me, where they will give me heads up. Hey, tomorrow there's going to be a press release. This is what it's going to say. That will happen sometimes. And with those guys on more than one occasion, I've heard and in a couple of weeks we'll have something else. And it's something like, a conspirator or something like that.
Mhm.
So prosecutors love to prosecute and investigators love to investigate. And my question, I guess the thing that I'm questioning though is like, let's say Jennifer knew what was happening. Is it possible for a person like Jennifer to know what's happening and still not really understand the grave or evil or whatever adjective you want to add to it, nature of what's going on?
I think that actually that happens in a lot of households, where typically a male partner is assaulting a child and the mother maybe feels like something is off, or she knows something has happened that makes her uncomfortable, but she cannot imagine the full extent of what's happening, right? I mean, like, how many things have I said in this last hour that people are probably hearing for the first time in their lives that they could never have imagined would these people.
Yeah, I've had those gestalts like 3 times so far since we've been talking. Yeah. Like, oh.
And your brain will work to protect you whether you want it to or not. And so, and I just, it's just not a world people live in. So they can't imagine what these offenders are up to. And so I think it's possible there were things that made her uncomfortable.
All right. And thank you guys for being here. There's 392 people in chat. I was just text messaging one of my contractors. You guys should know I'm on the right track for getting what I need to get fixed. Hopefully by next year, I have my roof fixed. I'm not going to get a new one, and my bedroom in and everything like that. So, let's pray. And also my son needs Venmo money because he just lost his job, you guys, and he needs gas money. So mama's got to send him gas money. So keep listening to this. Friday is a members only stream. Get your members only. We're doing a giveaway on Wednesday for everybody. And Friday, I'm giving away for members only. All right. So make sure you get that membership for Friday. I'm giving you all week long to get it.
I think there are probably even things she intervened in on occasion, right? Like, I can't imagine what, but I think that there are things she may have intervened in that she was a little bit uncomfortable with. But I think she in particular probably could not possibly know the extent of what he was doing.
Oh man. Clark, the comment is, Gavin, I think it was his night. Remember, his parents said he slept all day. I believe that nighttime was his time to stalk and offend. And I think there is some truth to that. I mean, I have been a software developer and a data analyst and a web developer for years and years and years. And whenever I get into a groove on a project, a big project over the last 25, 30 years, I have turned to the nighttime to do that because the world is off. Everybody leaves me alone, right? So, I mean, for offenders like this, I bet they can get away with a lot of stuff because everybody else is literally asleep.
Yes, very common for
Clark
sex offenders to be working in the night in their home. Yes.
And it's scary the way that you
Clark, shout out. Lisa is me. Jay, I never guessed you're old enough to have a kid that drives. Lisa, would you believe I have a 25-year-old son that more than drives? 25 years old and a 10-year-old daughter. So my son's been driving for the last 10 years. That's how old I am, by the way. So yeah, I'm 25 and 10, and I'm 45 years old. A whopping 45. That's why I got all this gray hair on the sides. Love you guys. All right, let's keep going. I just sent my son gas money. I told the roofer I'll meet him outside in a little bit, and now we can go back on. All right, let's go. You can't wait to take a picture of jammies on Christmas Eve. Yeah, you guys love those members only pictures, don't you? And I love that you love them. So thank you. Yes, Lisa, 45 years old, baby. Let's keep going.
Describe that that he has a full-time job, right? That's what he's doing. Okay, Lori asks, why did Jennifer Soto lie incessantly to law enforcement if she was a wonderful but gullible mom? So Lori, for me, like, we're not getting very specific here. We really don't know what she lied about. I think that she told a couple of different lies, but I don't know that she did. But let's assume that she did lie for a second here, Beth.
Oh.
Why would she do that if she was just a gullible, maybe, albeit mentally incapable?
I don't know that she would. I mean, trust me, the door is open that my entire hypothesis here is wrong. That's possible. I will vouch for myself and say this. I've never had that happen yet. I might be wrong in a piece here and there. But
good.
What I think,
I don't want to roast Beth. I'm going to give her this. I'm going to say, Beth, you're great for what you do. And I'm no expert, but I will tell you by her demeanor, her education, and when I'm looking at her CV, she's a different generation than I am and you are. And she's still living on that. She's in that generation. Is the assessment I gave you at the beginning. Her generation is still that women are being preyed upon by these predator men that groom them, and they're good moms, but here's what happens. So I think Jen is her own entity and it should be her own study. Yeah, Tamika, you say you think she's in denial. I'm just going to give her that I think she's amazing for what she does, but I think she's just a different generation. And why won't it? It will, Crystal. We'll get you your membership and we'll have you refresh. Email me and I'll help you when I'm done here. All right, let's go.
Things that
We'll get to
the couple
We'll
of
get
things
to.
that I see that concern me that I think people take as lying or downplaying something, like the fact that she told him to call a lawyer right away, or she called his dad. Oh, you're gonna have to get. You know what I think that was about?
That was weird.
I don't know that was about his survival. I think it was about hers.
Okay, how so?
Oh, now you're.
I think her
tell us.
immediate reaction was, "Oh, if something happens to him, how am I going to make it?"
Yes.
Because he is the leader that she must follow.
Because she's so dependent on him. I also think when she said, well, I didn't think he would do anything evil. Honestly, I think that was just her limitation. I think she missed a word or didn't have the right words there. I felt like she was just processing slower in that moment, right? When they were pushing her for answers. And I think I've known a lot of women who found out that someone was offending against their child. And generally they will say, I would never have imagined he was doing this. You know, people will come out of the woodwork. He's the nicest guy. He would never.
Yeah, no, I see it the opposite way. I see her saying, I'm getting a lawyer for Stephan because she needs him to fulfill her DRUG orders. She needs him in case Maddie did come back for a babysitter. She needs him to make sure that she has that man on her arm because she didn't like that she was bisexual. It wasn't a thing that she was like, hey, I'm bisexual, I'm dating women, I'm dating men. She liked having that thing that showed Stephan on her arm and her saying, oh, this is my man, even if they weren't dating and she was undercover doing things. I feel like Jennifer is like, I think she's like about my age or even younger. And yeah, she was bisexual, but she wasn't like open about it. Like, hey, I have a girlfriend, because she didn't tell anyone that. She kept using Stephan as the person that was the stepdad and this stand-up guy, and he lives with me, but she didn't tell people that they weren't together. All right. Crystal Burns, I think you've been emailing me already, but if you don't have my email, you guys drop me an email, guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com, if you guys need help getting your memberships back or any of that. All right, let's keep going.
Do this.
Well, and it is true that I would say most of us we cannot imagine. It is not in us to imagine the things that he was doing.
And I think the other thing is, so she's she's experiencing a trauma. We're watching it unfold live, right? Well, on video now, but
yeah,
she has, you know how, if you've ever experienced the situation where someone has to tell you that a loved one has passed, and at first you're like, what? No, I just talked to them. It couldn't be, they're fine.
You're immediately defensive. Yeah.
So she's having that reaction. Oh no, it couldn't be him. Right. And
but it looks a little stranger because it's slower, you think?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's unfolding over multiple days. And she's essentially experiencing grief multiple times over, right? Your child is missing. There's grief. Oh, wait, now you're telling me my kid is dead. Oh, wait, now you're telling me my boyfriend did all this. So she's kind of being hit with all of this information that is.
Shout out to you, my love, Sharon. Thank you so much. Always, every single day. Appreciate you. I just sent my son some of that gas money for Venmo. We're all in this weird time right now, but I want you guys to know I am giving away 4 things this week. I'm giving you guys whatever merchandise you want on my guiltyofcrime.com merch. So go check that out. I'm going to give you what you want. I'm going to ship it to your house, and I have 2 books. So I'm going to give you merch from the store and a signed copy of my book. Okay, so I'm giving out books and merchandise on Wednesday, and then I'm giving out more on the members only on Friday. So if you guys want to get in on that and you want to win a membership, or you want to win some merch, all right, do that. Jay, so Guilty of Crime, did we hit 420 views yet? We have 368 people. I don't know if we have 420. You guys let me know. And also, we'll have to talk about you coming on the show next, because I have Crystal coming on and I have Leanne coming on, but I don't have you scheduled. I'm not sure what that's about right now, but we'll talk about that. right? I agree. This lady is from a different era. She's stating how she thinks Norm would react. That's what I truly believe, Michelle, because I am no kind of expert to anything, but I sure can see shit when it's walking, and I see Jen from a million miles away. So I think that's what's happening there. Yeah, Frank Shaw, you're in here. Let's roast that potato. Let's go.
Impossible to comprehend, and it just keeps coming. So I don't think she gets time to process the reality of one thing.
Thank you.
Like, there was a moment at which she hesitated and said something to the police like, no, I believed you, but they were like, you didn't believe us? Why did you think this? I think she did not process and fully absorb what they were saying. It's one thing to hear it, it's another thing to really take it in.
Well,
and
We're giving stuff
there
away.
was a moment
We're giving
where
it away.
the detective, who again, just brilliant work,
Huh?
but he was talking about, we showed you this picture,
Too.
and
Thank you,
like,
guys.
Jen, that is rape. Like, he
Right.
had to tell her, like, she
Right.
didn't understand.
And I think there were several pictures they showed her that it should have been obvious that it was Maddie, and she was like, nope, I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
That was just absolute denial.
Okay, so Shelly's Flowers says, will you ask your specialist, this is Beth, how was he able to keep his parents in the dark for so long?
It sounds to
Exactly.
me like he sort of used them as a transient landing pad almost. He didn't have shared computers with them. He apparently had some of this stuff in storage. They seem like decent people who didn't go into his room and dig around recreationally. I think at the point where you're almost 40 and you're using them as a flop house, and sometimes you're here and sometimes you're there, all of that actually increases his ability to hide things, because no one ever gets to see him in the hole for an extended period of time, right?
Yeah.
So his parents don't necessarily know where he is when he's not.
All right, just real quick. Now, maybe possibly Synth, real quick, I'm pausing this because tomorrow we're doing Madeline McCann. We're doing Madeline, and we're gonna see what you guys think. Do you think Madeline is alive? Is that Julia? That's Madeline. And did we solve that case? So Synth, if I do bring you up, I have a lot to do tomorrow as far as giving stuff away. You're welcome on, but I'm gonna probably be playing a lot of clips and talking. So if you want to go up there, Synth, and just be pretty with your straight hair and your merch, you're welcome to come up tomorrow, but I'm going to do most of the talking. All right. So tomorrow we're doing a giveaway for 20,000 subscribers. And Synth, you're welcome to come up, but I'm going to be doing most of the talking, and you're welcome there. And then Friday, I have Leanne coming on my channel to do members only. And we're doing a mother that took her 3 children's lives, and she sang while she took their lives, you guys. She's crazy. Nancy Jean, is there news on Madeline? There sure is, Nancy. I've got big news on Madeline, and I want to see what you guys think. I've been doing some deep dives into that case, and you can do, spoil alert, because everybody has a different opinion, Foxy Amazon, and I'm going to give my opinion. You don't know what it is until tomorrow, and you won't know if you're going to win the merch until tomorrow. So you guys got to come here. We start at 4:00. All you guys have to do is be here. You don't have to pay anything or donate. I am giving stuff away to thank you guys for being here, for the 20,000 subscribers that you guys have brought onto the channel. All right. You guys helped me do this. I didn't do this. So thank you. All right, let's go. I got to meet my guy sooner than later. He's outside waiting.
Now, Jen, she may not exactly know where he is, or may think he's with, versus if someone lives with you every day for years uninterrupted, even an offender will develop patterns, right? And then be able to say something is wrong. Why does he always go to this guy's house for 2 hours on this day? And then he always has money the next day, right? That's how we pick up suspicious patterns. But part of this weird transient thing he had going on where he didn't have a schedule. He slept all day, which again is when
So did
people are
Jen.
awake. They would notice patterns if you had them. If you're up at
So did
night,
Jen.
they don't know what you're doing. It's hard to pick up the patterns. So I just think all of that stuff contributes to none of these people being able to say, wait a minute, there are enough things here to make me think this guy is really a danger. He's got a problem.
And his parents don't seem to me like they have the same kind of mental slowness as Jennifer might. They seem
I like how he called it mental slowness.
I appreciate it.
I went all the way back. Hold on. I missed that. Mental slowness. All right, I'm gonna go a little bit further.
That's
my bad. I did want to show you guys that I got new glasses, and it's really bright in here. So for those of you that haven't seen me for a while without my glasses, and I get emails from you guys, hey Jay, why don't you lose the shades sometimes? I'd like to see you without the shades. These are my new glasses. I got some new cool Ray-Bans. I also got new cool glasses. Black Friday, I got new shades, and the new shades have new upgraded so my vision can see. So I wanted to let you guys know that I'll stay on for a little bit with my glasses here, so you guys can see me, and share, like, subscribe, all that. Let's go. All right.
It's a strategy to be safe.
You also have to teach people from early on that they own their body. This means we don't say things like, give grandpa a hug. I don't want to give grandpa a hug. Go on, we have to give grandpa a hug. No, we don't. You own your body. If you don't want to use it to do this thing right now, you don't have to, right? And so
absolutely never do that.
There's two things that you can do to teach your child to help defend themselves. But the third thing that I will say is this. Many violent offenders, including sex offenders, are tip of the iceberg offenders. So if you see two things that are making you uncomfortable.
What does that mean? What's tip of the iceberg?
So an iceberg, the majority of an iceberg, 90% of it is actually below the water and you never see it. So what you see on top of the water is only 10% of the iceberg.
Okay, I'm following you. So if you see most offenders, the stuff that you know about is just a little bit.
Leanne, I love you, girl. We're absolutely doing it on Friday. Nothing's changed since we talked earlier. Friday is the members only. Wednesday is my 20,000 gift giveaway. I'm giving 4 things out. So Friday, Leanne, you're coming on my channel. I hope you show up on Friday at the right time, because I really do have it scheduled for a tea on Friday. So if you're not here, I'm going to be giving stuff away. Tomorrow, I'm giving stuff away by myself. So I hope to see you Friday. I sent you the link to get into chat. Nothing changes. When I lock in a schedule, you guys, I'm on it unless I'm dying. All right, let's keep going. And don't make your children, the holidays are coming up. Holidays are coming. Don't make your kids give people that they don't want to hug. Give them a hug. That's the best advice that I've heard all day from this lady. My glasses, I get them at glassesusa.com, and I get the cheap, they're Ray-Bans, but I get discounts and stuff on them. So I just thought I'd show you my my new glasses, since everyone always says, why are you always wearing shades, Jay? It's because it's bright, you guys.
If you're seeing something that makes you uncomfortable, multiply that by 5,
right,
or 10, and that's what they're actually doing.
Okay, wow. Hey, that's disturbing, but probably very good advice. Give me
I can't believe we're almost at 2 hours, you guys. Unbelievable. We have 350 people here still. So you guys do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and share the content. All right. I love you guys. We got a few more minutes and then I'm going to bounce. I got to go meet my contractor outside. He's been waiting for like half an hour. All right.
Example of a lie that's okay to tell for your own safety.
Yes.
It is okay if someone is following you down the street. It's okay to go to a house that's not yours, or walk towards a house that's yours, or tell them this is my house right here.
Bravo.
And go into, if someone's approaching you and saying, I'll give you a ride. It's okay to say, I already have a ride. My mom's coming to get me, even if you don't. It's okay to just scream and run away. One of the things that most adult women know, if you're out and about and there is a man paying attention to you that's unwanted, a lot of women will say, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm married, even if they're not. All of those are the kinds of are protective lies that are good to train children to use.
All right. Those are good examples. Here's another one. Thank you, Beth Meeks, for coming on. I appreciate your insight and intelligence. You are doing a great job showing how complicated and layered people are. All the shades of gray. Sending love from Iceland. Thank you very much, TCF. And a lot of people are saying Beth needs to come on more often. You're doing great.
We need to get her to come on. I'm going to stop this because we're almost at 2 hours, and I'd rather see what your guys' comments are and finish my civil duty here. But I do love you guys. I would like to get her on my channel, and I'd like to see if we can change her perspective. So I would have her on here, but I need to talk to her. What did I spoil? You spoiled it. Who spoiled what? All right. Anyway, Leanne, I sent you the link. I hope you're coming on Friday. I want to see what you guys are saying. Those were really good recommendations at the end, and I see you guys are saying like things about family members and don't make them give hugs, etc. A lot of people didn't agree with Beth, but I'd like to fill her in, or I'd like to get a new expert. Yes, absolutely, Heaven. I'd love to get a new expert. If any of you guys know experts that you recommend, if not, I'll go out to the world of YouTube and see if I can lock something down. I think I could ask her really good questions, but I need to target them more towards Jen, because you're right. I think that I just think that she was going by a classic case, you guys. All right. Now, Sharon says, I got to go. Girl, we love you. Work is calling. We'll see you tomorrow, 4 o'clock. It's our 20,000 subscriber giveaway, and I'm doing that for you guys. I love you. I appreciate you guys. Willing to change. Exactly. I'd love to have her on here and see her change her mind when I fill her in a bit about things. And we'll be gentle. We'll absolutely be gentle. That's how we do around here. All right. So the gifted memberships, the likes, subscribes, all that. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Don't forget to be here tomorrow. And I'm about to email you. I'm about to email you for my show on Friday. Tamika Riley, shout out to you and your beautiful pictures right there of your family. Lovely family. Love to see you here. Thanks for staying here and chat. And I'm going to get out of here. I'll say hi to Mama and all the folks. We did 2 hours tonight, you guys. Love you. Mwah. Good night. I'll see you tomorrow.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?